Hello, welcome to Movies I Love with yours truly, Nomfanelo. So, the film that I will be covering today is Good Burger. So, Good Burger is a 1997 comedy film that's based on the skit of the same name that's from the Nickelodeon series All That, which is essentially like a kid's version of Saturday Night Live, where they do sketches and all that sorts of stuff. So, the film is directed by Brian Robbins, who directed films such as Varsity Blues and Hardball, and he is the current CEO and president of Paramount Pictures and Nickelodeon. The film stars Kenan Thompson, Kel Mitchell, and Linda Cardellini. So I'm deciding to cover this film because there is a sequel that's out on Paramount Plus right now, Good Burger 2, which I have not seen as of the time of this recording, but I have seen the trailers and it does look interesting. So, in terms of my thoughts on Good Burger, this movie, it's one of those movies where you certainly enjoy it as a kid, because I watched this kid growing up because I'm a 90s kid. But as you grow up as an adult, you may find it to be ridiculous because it's so over the top. But after rewatching it recently, I still enjoy the movie. It's still entertaining. It's certainly one of those movies where you just turn your brain off and just go along for the ride. So, so why do I love this movie? Well, first off, Ed. Because Ed, he essentially lives and breathes as a Good Burger employee. Because essentially, from the time the movie starts till the end, he never takes off his uniform. In fact, you see during the opening credits, he sleeps with his uniform on. He showers with his uniform on, which is just hilarious. And he clearly loves his job, but at the same time, he is like the worst employee at Good Burger. An example is during the opening credits, after he arrives at Good Burger, where he goes to take a customer's order, kind of gives the customer a hard time. That's an example. Another example is when he is swimming inside the milkshake machine when he's trying to fix it, which is hilarious. But also, too, I would not want to drink off from that milkshake machine. So with Ed on surface, he is dumb or stupid, I guess, how some would view his character. And he certainly is not self aware of that, which is nice because I think if he knew that he, you know, was like that, I don't think the character would have worked and it would be more as a caricature and be played just for jokes, essentially. And but in ways though, he's smarter than he looks because even though he has his quirks, because after when Mondo Burger explodes, he explains his plan. I put that in quotes to Dexter to dump the chemicals into the burger, and then shenanigans ensue from there. His explanation honestly did not make sense. It was hilarious, but he certainly bought what he was telling Dexter with that. And he has this surfer dude accent where he talked like, and has some memorable lines, I would say, from the movie. Like, example is, "Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?" And then also he says, "Oh, I'm a dude. He's a dude. She's a dude. We're all dudes. Hey!" Something like that. So yeah, Ed, even though he might not be there at times, but he's certainly a delight to watch on screen. Also, too, why I like this movie, the chemistry between the lead characters, Ed and Dexter, played by Kel Mitchell and Kenan Thompson, because I believe they work together in all that before this movie, and the scenes when they are together on screen, like yes, like they're hilarious, but also at times can be heartfelt. An example is when Dexter discovers Ed Sauce for the first time by by circumstances, essentially, which that leads to a chain of events with the restaurant and their relationship. So it's great to see them on screen. Also, too, the comedy is, I would say, absurdist because it's certainly over the top. That could be annoying for some people. I didn't mind it because at least like it did not go too extreme with that, in my opinion. Um, so example would be with Spaz. I think that's the character, the chef from Good Burger, because he does not talk. He mumbles a lot. There's a scene where he sees a fly flying around. He uses the spatula to hit the fly to kill it, essentially, and then he decides to eat it. And he enjoys it. Well, because Dexter obviously is disgusted by that, but Ed is like, he didn't mind it. So I guess that will be an example of absurdist comedy. Also, too, Mondo Burger as the villains, because when they're first shown on screen, it's essentially treated as the military. How I find it, because everyone like is following these strict instructions on how to assemble a burger, and obviously, Dexter messes that up, which is hilarious when he tries to explain his way out of that situation. And with Kurt, like the our lead antagonist, he essentially treats everyone like garbage with this movie, and he always tells his enemies, "Oh, you're gonna go to the grinder," which is so 90s. So yeah, I really appreciate the villains being villains in this movie. Also to Mr. Wheat, played by Sinbad. I felt sorry for him because essentially Dexter gets into a car accident with Mr. Wheat, and Mr. Wheat gets upset with that, which sets off, Dexter's path to try to pay um, Mr. Reed off without getting into trouble and all that sort of stuff. And then we see his mailbox gets destroyed twice. And then during the Mondo Burger getting destroyed scene, Mr. Reed's car gets destroyed when the burger falls on top of his car. So I really felt sorry for Mr. Weed, but it's quite hilarious. I want to add that when he arrives at Mondo Burger, like he's not aware of the chaos because he's in his own bubble, I guess you could say. But but yeah, like he's certainly not having a good summer. Let's just put it that way. Also, too, the cameos were enjoyable. So we had like Shaquille O'Neal playing himself when Dexter and Ed delivered his order at the Lakers locker room, I believe. Also, too, we have George Clinton. He plays a patient, and his song with Parliament is played during the whole dance sequence. When Dexter's trying to figure out a way for the group to escape and all that stuff. And also to Carmen Electra as Roxanne with her subplot. That was hilarious as well. And I believe she's going to be in the sequel for this movie. So I'm curious if she's going to be playing the same character or if it's a different character. I'm not sure. Also, too, let's talk about Ed Sauce. Because when I first saw Ed Sauce, like it looked is very orange. It kind of reminded me of like tomato soup, but more orangey, I suppose. Because I'm curious as to what are the ingredients of the sauce. I think I've seen online people have like their recipes, I guess, on how to make the sauce. So yeah, it also made me curious too. What's in the sauce? But clearly, the sauce in this movie worked because it turned things around for Good Burger, and then all those stuff, shenanigans happened with Mondo Burger and so forth. So that was great. Also, too, the Burger Mobile that Ed and Dexter use for deliveries is clearly modeled after the Batmobile, like in terms of the look being over the top of the burger and all that stuff. That was quite fun to watch. And in terms of scenes, I like the stop motion sequence of the burgers during the opening credits, because when they are like assembled, and then which leads to Ed's dream sequence of the burgers pleading with him not to be sold to the customers. Those were cute. Also, too, when Ed runs into the basketball players during that whole sequence with the opening sequence, and then he somehow switches the baby with with the basketball, and it was quite hilarious that the basketball players didn't even know they were holding the baby until after they shoot it through the hoop, which was hilarious. And lastly, when Mondo Burger explodes, very over the top with the huge burgers. They're very chunky though, and all that stuff. And I guess that caused like a little earthquake inside the restaurant that leads to everybody like evacuating. And then, of course, with Mr. Wheat, his car getting destroyed and all that stuff. So I don't have too much critiques to add for this movie. I thought, like with Ed, even though he loves his job, he is the worst employee of Good Burger. Just maybe question, like, why wasn't he fired or at least reprimanded for, his work ethic, I suppose. But I guess that's neither here or there with this movie. Also, too, Otis, I just wonder why he was sleeping inside Good Burger when Kurt and crew were poisoning the Ed sauce at night. I just wondered, what was Otis doing there? Like, he couldn't get home or something? I don't know. And also, too, Dan Schneider. Um, because I didn't have an issue with his performance, but it's just like rewatching this movie now with all the stuff that came out with Dan Schneider and all that stuff. It's just not a good look today. And yeah, just seeing him on screen, and I guess he was involved too. I guess behind the scenes with this movie, just was not. It's not a good look. So that pretty much concludes this episode of Movies I Love. Let me know in the comments, do you like this movie? What are your favorite scenes or moments and all that stuff? Let me know in the comments section. So the link to my socials will be in the description. If you want to support my channel, you can donate through my Buy Me a Coffee link, which is in the description. And also, too, if you want to create your own videos on Riverside, whether it's for podcasts, YouTube, or so forth, you can click on my affiliate link in the description. So I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will catch you on the next one.